Freight Intra-Africa South was the first of a series of events to take place across the continent. The aim of the Freight Intra-Africa program is to promote regional integration of Africa through transport systems and find the opportunities within the space.
Firstly, it's an incredible privilege for us to be involved as a part sponsor here. And this is quite important. It's the first of a series that's going to take place across Africa. And this is really the forum where private industry and the private sector gets together as stakeholders and to make sure we take hands with the governments across the continent to develop the infrastructure and the logistics part of it to make this continent a success. You know, the infrastructure is a much spoken about debate and topic on the continent, and it's a huge challenge. You know, with the growth forecasted at 5.5% for this year, 5.8% next year, that makes Africa the fastest growing region outside of Asia. Now, government's got a very important role here to play, and it's become very fashionable of late that they issue licenses with infrastructure development attached to that. However, from our perspective, that is not going to be enough.
The conference was a great platform for organizations within the logistics sector to market their company and form relationships with other players in the sector.
Well, we've never been to an event like this before, but when we were presented the opportunity to come out here and just listening to the kind of people that you're bringing together, the discussions that are going to be had here, we really thought it would be a good opportunity to present what we do. Marketing into Africa is actually quite a difficult thing to do within our own domestic market because so much happens outside our borders. So to come to something like this where you're attracting people from all over the world and in all different industries, it gave us a great platform to really just find people and expose ourselves to people that we wouldn't have otherwise.
It just gives us the opportunity to market the company, to get the name out, you know, into the market within South Africa as well as across the borders. There's a lot of international visitors who do come in from, you know, the sub-Sahara Africa, areas from Congo all the way across Mozambique, Zambia, etc. And it just gives us an opportunity to show what we can do in South Africa, and you know, or within Africa, not just South Africa.
Data released by Statistics SA showed that income from freight transportation for June 2011 increased by 6.9% compared with June 2010 to 6.7 billion rand. This year-on-year increase was driven largely by primary mining and quarrying products. Thanks to the increase in mining and quarrying, it's driving logistics in Africa.
Oh, for me, it just seems like Africa is the last frontier. Everything that that can be done has been done in Europe, America. The East everybody has found extremely difficult to get into, and Africa really is this massive marketplace with a huge population. And if we can get the development right, we've got a massive opportunity to supply everything, all modes of transport, all types of goods, the whole lot.
There is a massive drive into Africa. We as GAC Laser, we're well positioned within Africa. We've got offices in quite a few African states. You know, we saw the opportunity about 15 years ago, and you know, we've got quite a nice infrastructure set up. I think the rest of the world now have seen the opportunities within Africa, be it all, you know, from the mining side all the way up into retail, and development of housing and business infrastructure. So there's definitely a big drive. There's a lot happening on our borders in Mozambique, in Zambia, in Botswana, which are basically our neighbouring countries. And I think a lot of international companies are actually taking those opportunities, and a lot of South African companies are letting them slide by. So you know, we're pretty well positioned, you know, for the growth in that, and I just hope more South African companies catch on and get involved there.
The road freight industry is dominating the freight market. According to the Transport Department, the road freight sector carries 87% of the total freight in the country. Although this all sounds good, the sector has its fair share of problems.
You know, it takes focus and forward planning to turn some of these challenges into opportunities, and there are a couple of these areas that are of concern. You sit with a huge amount of corruption, you sit with challenges at customs, you've got different currencies and different exchange rates, and then you've got the political instability.
Dealing with the borders and so on every day, the biggest thing is doing things the right way and stopping this whole mentality of trying to get bribes and corruption, because we'll find going through borders and so on, everybody's wondering what's in it for them, rather than is everything correct and getting an efficient service through to the customer. So I think if we can get the integration right, we're going to see things really boom through South Africa and all the way through Africa.
Challenges are is mainly, I think, on the fuel side. A lot of fuel increases in that. The toll roads, which are propping up, within Gauteng. Those are challenges on the national distribution side.
I hope that firstly the private sector will start building a network, because without a network we will not be able to solve the challenges the continent throws at us. Also, as I've mentioned, hopefully with our involvement in the Southern African Trust and preparing a positioning paper for the SADC community, that'll help us to work on the challenges. And I hope that as private sector we can have a strong enough show to involve government to help us, to help them to build up this continent and to make it accessible and to make it investment friendly.